Welcome to And Before You Go. This is a place for moms of teenagers. A place for moms who are starting to realize you only have a few more years, weeks, months, or maybe even days to spend with your child before they move on to the next phase of their lives. And as the days tick away, you look at your child and you realize there are biblical truths that you want them to know. There are some ways that you see they still need to grow. And you're just hoping time will go slow so you can still visit all the places you want to go. Is that you? Then you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello, I'm Shonda. Welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm joined by my husband Fabian, and we chat about his goal list for our middle son Brandon. It's so interesting to hear a man's perspective on these things. Some of the things he talks about I had not even considered, which is great. I love hearing another perspective. But at the end of the day, we agreed on one thing: intentionality. Intentionality is key as you launch your children into the world. I hope you enjoyed this interview, and I'll talk to you again on the other side. Fabian, thank you for joining me. I know this is probably not the way you want to spend your evening, but you're here.
I'm here.
So I wanted to talk to you about the things that you want our kids to know before they go out into the big world. And specifically Brandon, since he's next on the docket.
Right.
But I first wanted to ask you, are you looking forward to an empty nest?
I'm definitely looking forward to an empty nest. There is some unknowns about it that I have a little bit of anxiety about, but I think my excitement about that phase of life kind of outweighs that. So it's like, whatever it is, just let me experience it.
How do you feel about me in the emptiness?
I feel like you're not going to handle it as well. Like I think for you, it's a period in time in life where you feel like you don't want to go into head first, just kind of want to dip your toe in, and if it ain't right, take it back out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe we should have more kids so we can prolong.
No.
No. Not that?
No, not no more kids for sure.
So thinking about Braylon, the oldest, being gone, like how do you feel about that? About him being out basically in the world? We have some influence over him, but not complete like we used to.
Right. And it's just been an experience that has been totally an outer body experience, because I just remember him leaving or getting ready to leave and me thinking how unprepared he is to be out of the house and on his own, and then just watching him kind of just take it all in stride and grow to be his own young man. It's just been fascinating watching God move in his life. So I'm just hoping this equally as fun with B2.
Yeah, I remember when we dropped Braylon off, I thought that I was going to be the emotional one. Turns out that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Turns out that wasn't the case. And I think I had been mentally preparing myself for that moment, and I think it may have just kind of hit you in the moment.
Yeah, he was, he's the first, and it's, like I say, I guess I wasn't really, as much as I thought I was ready for him to leave, I guess I wasn't as ready as I thought I was. And it all had to do for me, just did I make sure I tell him how to shave? Do we know how to shave his face? And of course, we learned that he does not know how to shave his face.
So his decision has been to grow a very unruly beard. Yeah.
And, just like all of the little things that you kind of took for granted that you had time to cover. And I just never really felt like I got an opportunity to truly teach him those little bitty things. I feel like I poured into him a lot of like big lessons, but like shave, you know how to shave, dude? And of course, yeah, we found out he didn't really know how to shave.
And now I feel like he just flat out refuses.
Right.
So thinking about B2, Brandon, sometimes it's easier just to call him B1, B2, B3 because their names are so close. It confuses other people. but we do know them apart. But
Right.
B2, what do you plan to do maybe a little differently so that you feel more prepared for the next phase?
Well, for me, I don't think it'll be really any different because I give 110% to all of them. And so not necessarily anything different, but just making sure most of my T's are crossed and most of my I's are dotted. But really just making sure that he knows, or all of them know, that, we're here to support them and love them through whatever life has for them. And I think it's important that they know that even though I don't know how to shave, I know that I can call home. That's something that I need to know, and that's where I just want to be with them, where they can just have that confidence in knowing that this is always a safe place. I don't care what trials or issues may come in your life, but I can always go home or call home or contact either one of us and be in a safe place and talk about how I feel and be honest with each other. And B2, it seems like he's more curious about what I think about in certain situations or how I respond in situations. So it's been crazy.
Comical.
Yeah. It's been crazy.
What you're saying is intentionality, being intentional. We basically have 12 more months of influence.
Right.
Before our influence will not be the primary influence potentially in his life. So just intentional about the season in preparation for the next season. And that's kind of what the point of this Before You Go is for me, is about intentionality, my own personal intentionality, and hopefully causing other people to be intentional in the same season.
Right. And I feel as though he's going to be a little bit more challenging than his brother, because his brother has always been one of those, wanting to be the big kid or just wanting to grow up really fast. And not saying that Brandon didn't want to do the same, but he just kind of defaulted back to either mommy or daddy or big brother is going to pave the way. And so this whole season of him kind of being out there on his own, it's going to be a challenge for him. But like I said, I think the biggest thing for myself and us as a unit is that he knows that we're here, and whatever it is, if we can teach it to him, great. But if life have to teach it to him, then we're here for him to lean on.
Well, I asked you to come up with 3 things. One that you want him to know.
Right.
One way you want him to grow. And one way when times are slow, you want to go and do something with him. So let's start with no. What do you want Brandon to know?
I guess the big takeaway for him, for me, is to know that God is a sustainer, that God will truly keep him. I think back a lot of times when he was a baby and we were going back and forth with his checkups, and every time we would go, the doctor would tell us he's underweight. He's not meeting the test as far as kids his age. He shouldn't be this little. And I know you were worried a lot about it during the time, as far as if you were sufficient in feeding him and that kind of stuff. And so they put him on this regimen of him eating anything that he ate. We had to add butter, just some form of fat to it, I guess. But it just during that time of us worrying, and I'm worried, and I remember clearly the season in which God was speaking to me personally. And it reminds me of when he says in Corinthians how in our weakness his strength is made perfect, and that we did too much thinking upon our own power. And God was just clearly letting us know that we have to put it in his hands and put it in his control, because at the end of the day, even though he was not the right size according to the doctors, he wasn't sick. He wasn't showing any symptoms of being underweight. So it was just him not measuring up. And once I got some clarity and the comfort of knowing that God had us, I remember kind of coming at you and saying, look at me. He's not going to be the smallest on the paper all his life. That we can guarantee, because it's just not in his genes. Yeah. Him just hoping that he knows and trying to reassure him to know that a lot of times we're not going to sense God's presence, but we know that his hand is orchestrating our lives. And if I could get that communicated to him, I think half the battle is won, even more than half.
Yeah, God is his sustainer. That's true, especially thinking about back to that time, and he was so small, but I remember him being so tiny, and we went to this babe like expo thing, and they had a crawling contest. Do you remember this?
Right, yeah.
And we put him in the crawling contest, and he was so fast. He won us a $25 gift card because he was so fast. And that should have been a sign like he is okay.
Yeah, I knew then that he was, first of all, he's going to be a football player. And secondly, that he didn't miss out on the stick-out jeans. So that was great.
God. Yes. And now he's like 6'2".
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me one way that you want him to grow.
One of the things about my kids, and this is all of them, is that they grew up a little different than the way I did. And they've never really just needed money. They've been very casual with money. If they got money for their birthday or they work, they always spend it on stuff like video games or never really, yeah, like never really looking to save first. Like, I want to save. Like, I feel like they just been very casual with any money that they've ever gotten. And you know, I understand that you want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. I get that, but I just don't think the practice of saving money has been one of those things that has grown. So I think for me, I would definitely love to see them grow in that area, all of them, but especially B2, because even now that he's working, at any moment he'll pop in and, can I get some of my money to go buy candy? You know, and it's like, man, save your money. Mm-hmm. But
or this current challenge of the AirPods. He wants AirPods.
Earbuds.
So, is it earbuds? AirPods? Whatever those Apple things are. And I just don't see why he needs those. He doesn't even keep up with his headphones.
Right. And that's another. They'll lose money. Not I spent it and don't know where it went. Like, I misplaced $100. Who does that?
Yes, they do all need to. Except, I will say, B3 is good about saving his money.
Yeah, but he's still
but
saving it.
But he'll spend our money.
Well, yeah. But he's still saving it for something, not just, I want
He's not
a
saving
savings.
it and growing it or with intentionality. He's
he's saving
he's just hoarding it almost.
Yeah, he's saving it so I could make a big purchase on something that he don't need.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, so we have about 12, 15 months. What is one place you definitely just want to go? Time slow down so I can make sure that we get to do this one thing. What would that be?
Well, in this household, we like sports. And for some reason, out of 3 boys, there's really only one of those boys that we can agree, for the most part, on teams we support. He likes TCU. He likes the Cowboys. You know, all of which are my favorite as well. And the other 2 not just don't like TCU or dislike the Cowboys, they hate them.
Right.
It's like they're not even a part of this family. He's the only one. So I guess before he go, I would like to, enjoy that with him one more time.
A TCU game?
TCU or the Cowboy, just something that we have in common. Since he enjoys it, I enjoy him too. I want to do that before he leaves, for sure. Yeah.
I think that'd be a great memory for you two to have. Remember that time we went to the Cowboys game? Even the TCU game, a big game. He would love that. Yeah. I remember the first TCU game we took him to. Mm-hmm. He was so excited to go. And like Super Frog and being down in the end zone and the band. And it was just an amazing, the weather was great. Everything aligned for that day. It wasn't too hot. We saw our friends. It was just a great day. I'm hoping for something similar when y'all go back.
Yeah. I think it'll be fun. I mean, he's older now, and it's time for him to really start kind of carving his path, and I have never really tried to steer them. Well, I guess I have in some ways, but he's the only one that has really just kind of taken on the teams, whether if it was by my doing or it's just teams that he liked, but he's the only one. Like the other two, I mean, just
B3 is a Seahawks fan, which would be a rival to the Cowboys.
Like, and he don't even know where Seattle is. Like,
right.
And Braylon, Baltimore. Again, never been there.
Yeah.
And both of them like LSU as college. So,
which I guess I should be more pro LSU growing up in Louisiana, but they have it really deeply ingrained in them, and I don't know how that happened. I guess my dad.
Well, yeah, but I don't really mind them liking LSU, but I don't like that they hate TCU. Like, I do root against their team, but
you do it as spiteful.
yeah, like because they hate TCU so much. But it's just with him, he's always, for as long as I can remember, it's always been TCU and Cowboys. And now when it gets to the NBA, we like a house divided for sure. But football, it's just different. And plus, this year I'm actually going to be coaching him before he leaves out. So.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
It's going to be fun. This is like a dream come true. So
yeah, now I'm feeling a little like he's leaving, but it's a good thing.
It's got to happen. It's got to happen.
It's a good thing. Well, thanks for sharing with me.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll come back. Maybe you'll come back in 4 years when we're talking about Bryce.
Maybe. I might be on cloud 9 somewhere.
And I'll be somewhere underneath the blanket because my baby will be leaving the house.
Yeah, baby. Right.
Yes, my 18-year-old baby. Thanks for joining me, husband.
For sure.
Thanks for listening in. I hope you enjoyed hearing a man's perspective as much as I did. I had not even considered putting shave on my list of things the boys needed to learn. But apparently, that's very important, as we've learned with our oldest son. My husband referenced 2 Corinthians when he talked about Jesus being Brandon's keeper. I thought I would read those verses to you in case you want to add it to your goal list. It comes from 2 Corinthians chapter 12, and it's verses 9 through 11. Paul says, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I will delight in my weaknesses, in insults, in hardship, in persecution, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong." That's 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 9 through 11 from the NIV version. In the next episode of the podcast, I am joined by my very best friend, Dion. We have been friends since we were 13 years old. Now our boys are going to be seniors in high school. Yes, they're in the same grade. It's been so much fun for us to grow up together and now our boys to grow up together. So she's going to chat with us about her goal list for her son, Destin. That's in the next episode. Don't forget to join me on social media @AndBeforeYouGo on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I'll see you there.